What's up, Tribal Laker fam? Welcome to another episode of Farm and Land with Brand. So on today's episode, we're going to be talking about introducing steers to our farm, steer calves or any of our calves, how we introduce them onto the farm and then integrate them with the rest of our calves. Let's go.
Here on Tribal Lakers. Here on Tribal Lakers. Here on Tribal Lakers. Here on Tribal Lakers.
All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode right here on the farm, Tribal Lakers. So, we're headed over to our handling facility right now, where we have some of our calves currently, and I'm going to kind of discuss today a little bit about that process of when we introduce new calves to our farm. Right now our breeding program is still really up and coming in a lot of ways, and we don't have a ton of heifers or cows yet that are birthing, only just a select few. So we're still buying some of our calves from a very few select local farmers that we use to bring some pretty good quality calves to our farm. So these are just some of the ones that we're bringing in or have brought in so far for this upcoming year to grow out. We do get them really young, that way they're as young as possible, so that we know that we're raising as long as we can here on the farm. We get them around, usually around weaning, which is usually around 4 months is about when we usually get them. So these guys are probably, these guys are all probably around 4 to 5 months. And we have 6 of them right now that we've got. And I'm going to show you guys already, just in the little time we've had them, of why we do this in this area, or actually start on the outside. All right, so you guys are going to get to see the calves real quick, but you guys know our handling facility right here. Right here, this is the outside of it. It looks different than if you go back to our original handling facility video, where it's actually set up to run calves through. Because of right now how our handling facility is set up, we run it on these livestock panels. It's definitely something we're working on upgrading in the future to make it more of a stationary thing, as running big cows through it is not as easy because the panels can't be moved when a cow tries to get out, if he doesn't want to go into the head gate. But we rearrange these panels to actually create almost like another mini pasture, where we load in our calves until they're ready to be moved into big pasture. And I'm going to explain why we do that. So we have this area here, which is actually the handling facility area, which is actually in between 2 pastures right here. This lane, this feeds into this pasture, this lane feeds into this pasture. Most of our cows get fed through here into this pasture right here, but then we do have this pasture off to the left, which we actually use mostly for holding the cows when we're running them into the chute and checking them and whatnot. So we have our panel set up connected to our group pen, which you guys have seen on a couple of videos, which is usually where we used to raise our bottle calves. When we transfer our bottle calves from our wow, I just lost my train of thought. We transferred our bottle calves from where we were, our calving area, when we used to if you go back to that video, you can see where we bottle fed some of our calves are out on pasture now. This is the group pen that come to grow out until they get released to pasture, and that used to just be this little area right here. But how we set it up with the hand facility and this gate here is we can feed them into this pasture here, we can run them into here, but then we take the gate that's actually connected here, connect it to one of the cattle panels, and now they have covering, which is super important for us for the first excuse our rooster big man over here, buddy, I'm trying to make a video. Just calm it down just a tad, okay? Or not. Okay, so this is the area right here, guys, that we put him in for the first couple weeks, that why they're here. And I'm going to show you the next process, which we transfer them into pasture. Okay, so we're going to talk about transferring them in the pasture here, but also introduce you guys to some of our calves. We have a couple Angus here, a Hereford, we have a Brahma cross, and then we have an Angus cross back here. He's actually mixed with Angus and Maine, I believe. And then this guy right here is Charles. He's a Charolais, but Charles is what we call him, for he's a boy. He's actually a steer we took off somebody's hands. He has a bad back leg problem when walking. He's about a 15, he's about a 17-month-old cow. As you can tell, he's not very big. He's got the stature as far as the height for a full-size cow, but he doesn't have the weight. He struggles gaining weight. So we pretty much just took him in, and he's kind of just become a cow that's, you know, here on the farm. Right now he's in here with some of our steers because he's just a really friendly cow, and he doesn't get around and move a lot. He lays down most of the time, but we have him here just for that because he doesn't really gain weight. So that's his biggest problem, is his issue in gaining weight. He was a bit skittish when he first got here, but we've kind of really worked with him a little bit, and he's a little bit more friendly now. But as you can see, as he walks, he's had this whole life, very bad back leg problem, and he can't, it's like he's walking on stilts. It gets better as he gets up from laying down to walk around, but yeah, that's how it looks. So we just are, right now we're keeping him around. We're hoping we could help him gain a little bit of weight, but so far he just stays that size. So he's a farm cow, and I guess really a pet cow at this time. So right now that's what he's here for, and so we just love him, take care of him, and better than him being cold, which I know most people will cold him, but currently we have not cold him. But we've just taken him in to make sure he has a good place to live for now, and I don't know what his future holds, but as of right now, it's here on the farm. So anyways, as you can see, this area here, this area is like, it's over 100 foot long. It's about 30 foot wide, that we have here. We usually run a handling facility in. But we open all these panels up along the edges. We put a hay bale in there, and then they have this hay ring here. That's the only thing that has hay in it right now because they just finished this bale. But as you can see, they've had hay everywhere. But we keep them on hay, of course, so because they don't have a lot of grass in here. But they ate all this down when they first got in here, and as you can see, they're already transferring out into where I'm going to talk about now, which is their first transfer out in the pasture. So we just opened up this gate yesterday, and this is the first of 2 integrations in with the main herd of cows. So we have ran them through here first. We just opened this up yesterday for them to put them on a larger area, to put them in some grass that's growing up. This is our best pasture that we have, and this pasture has been sitting for 2 months, I think, and there definitely is, you know, some grass growth that's coming back in it, but this is the lowest part of our property that actually gets decently wet, and it's dry season. So we've had 2 rains in the past like couple months, and well, we don't have any grass growth. So back here we usually grow year round, but we only have a few spots growing right now. But as you can see out here, now they have this pasture back in here to work through, get used to being out in a bigger area, and me going in with the other cows. It gives them access to see some, if they go around the bend that back here, it gives them access to see some of the cows on one of these back pastures. Get used to seeing them and kind of interact, I guess, in a way through a fence. But we don't integrate them with the larger herd until they get used to being in here. Then we move them to this pasture. So you can say, why do you put them in a small area first? Couple reasons. This allows us, by keeping them in the handling facility, to really keep an eye on them. If they possibly could be sick, we keep an eye on their stool content, on what that looks like. We our biggest thing with, of course, keeping, you know, a look at their health, make sure they're healthy, is also interacting with them a lot. So it allows us to, you know, touch the cows in a lot smaller area where they can't run away as far, try and work on feeding them by hand, making sure they get to know us, we get to know them very well, because a lot of times when you get calves from other farms, and some farms we work with, for getting some of our calves is, well, they're of course haven't been alive that long, but they haven't been around people that long, so they're real skittish. So we want to train them as quickly as possible to be used to humans, and we like to have friendly cows. So that's that process that we have. Don't worry about this guy over here. This is Louie. This is one of our steers. He's actually been in this pen for a while now, by himself, but he's friends with these guys over here, but he's got this whole pasture back here to himself. He's a grow out right now, so he's on his grow out period, but we keep him on pasture, so he's out there. But anyways, but yeah, make them friendly, but of course also to train them to electrical fencing. So we have an electrical fence. This is the only strand on this side that runs electrical, so that trains our cows to electrical fence. If they get out, they're only going to be able to get into this pasture right here, which makes it a lot easier for us to get them in. It's not going to be along any back lines where they can get lost in the woods, or anything like that. So first few days are pretty crucial for us in training them, because you will have a cow that can be a runaway because he doesn't know where home is or where he gets fed yet. So that's really an important feature that we try to integrate with our calves as we bring them onto the farm. So now they're here. We just opened this gate. They're in this pasture now, getting some fresh forage, mostly in this area here. We have some really good grass growth coming in along this back bend in here, about 8 inches or higher. So they're gonna get some fresh grass on top of getting some really good movement, getting back into a larger area and learning what it's like to actually live in a pasture with each other. And then the next step after that, of course, is integrating them with the main herd, which will be the larger cows, which without them actually seeing them every once in a while is, you know, a little bit harder, because it can be a little bit more aggressive at times, so on and so forth. So we want to make sure that we are introducing them to a pasture or learning the wires before we send them out into a pasture with cows, especially being smaller, because they will try and get through the electrical fencing, and then we have to chase cows to put them back in. So that's kind of our process of why we do that, which of course, like I said, most important first off is making sure the cows are healthy, not putting a sick cow into our herd and causing sickness to, you know, run rampant through them. So we want to make sure we have healthy calves that we're going to introduce to the herd, and they've been in this area for a couple weeks now, so they're getting a lot more friendly. You can come in, they usually come right up to you, and hopefully you have, you know, some alfalfa pelts or something like that to give them. But they've been, you know, eating hay, doing very well, been trained very well to the electrical fence. They all discovered that the first day, so they now respect the fence, and they have, you know, done very well. Out on pasture the second day, main pasture, I guess you could say. That's not a smaller area, and they seem to be enjoying it out there. It's a slow movement to get out to a new area for them, but we're keeping them also in this area for now still, because they are still kind of young, but they have access to grass, but they can also come back in here, actually take cover back in the group pen shaded area. It's complete removal from any rain if we do get someone, which ain't gonna happen very often right now, but once again, we went out there, they have access to trees for shade and whatnot. But yeah, so that's the process, guys, of how we run our calves and introduce them here on the farm. So I'm gonna go over here, let you guys see them a little bit more, and yeah, that way you guys can see the cute little calves that we have that are all steers for us, and they're going to be grazing with the big cows here soon. So let's check them out.